Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Craig Burrell, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Corporal Anthony Sues. We warmly welcome the family of Flying Officer John Edward Alcock, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. Please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Flying Officer John Edward Alcock. John Alcock was born on the 30th of January 1918 in Deloraine, Tasmania, to John and Ida Alcock. He grew up in Launceston, attended Launceston High School, and served as a senior cadet with the 12th Battalion. After finishing school, he found employment as a clerk with the Bank of New South Wales in Hobart. During this time, he served in the militia, initially with the 22nd Light Horse Regiment, before transferring to the Army Service Corps. He was granted a discharge from his militia service when he moved back to Launceston. Following the outbreak of the Second World War, Alcock enlisted for service in the Royal Australian Air Force on the 17th of August 1940. After his initial training, he was accepted for pilot training, and on the 11th of March 1941, he became an airman pilot. He was promoted to sergeant the same day. Alcock completed his flying training and earned his pilot wings. He was commissioned with the rank of pilot officer on the 10th of September 1941. From late December 1941 until mid-January 1942, he was posted to No. 1 Operational Training Unit at Niln, where he completed a conversion course to fly Lockheed Hudson bombers. He was then posted to 7th Squadron, Royal Australian Air Force at Lavington. This posting was short-lived, and Alcock was posted to Darwin in March, where he joined No. 13th Squadron, Royal Australian Air Force. The squadron had suffered badly during the Japanese bombing raids in February and was in the process of rebuilding. 1 week after his arrival, Alcock was promoted to flying officer. Though aircraft availability was initially limited, Alcock and his crew were involved in bombing and reconnaissance missions against Japanese targets in the Netherlands, East Indies, and anti-shipping operations in the Timor Sea. On the 14th of September, Alcock and his crew were involved in an attack on Japanese shipping in Samalaki Bay. Although the targeted ship was not damaged, the squadron damaged the surrounding dock. In early hours of the 1st of October, Alcock and his crew took off in Hudson bomber A16243 in a reconnaissance operation over Koh Pang, Timor. The aircraft and its crew were never seen again. Despite searches being conducted, no sign of the aircraft could be found. Alcock and the other crewmen of Hudson A16243 were initially listed as missing, but our later investigation concluded that the men had been killed in action. Alcock was 24 years old. Today, their names are commemorated on the Northern Territory Memorial located at the Adelaide River War Cemetery. Alcock's name appears on the Roll of Honour on my left, amongst almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Flying Officer John Edward Alcock, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. Thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial, and we wish you a very good evening.